What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing a beer from the 450 North Brewing Company, and they are out of Columbus, Indiana, and this is their Slushy Supersize, the Blackberry Cheesecake variant. So they're calling this one a Smoothie-style Sour Ale with blackberry, graham cracker, and cream cheese. Comes in at 5.3% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This can is approximately 3 months old. So 450 North. It's been almost 2 years since I reviewed something from them on the channel. And back then I had some really generous viewers and friends of the channel send me their stuff because you could only get it at a brewery back then. So unless you had some friends willing to send some your way or you trade for it, you couldn't get your hands on it. That changed in the last year and a half. They started to get some distro. And here in the Western New York area, and specifically the Buffalo, New York area, we started seeing their stuff about a year ago. But I haven't picked up any of their beers until now, and there's a good reason for it. Their price points here in my area are absolutely ridiculous. They're insane. And I wanted to pick this one up to kind of talk about that and also to see how their beers are, because back a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, when I started trying their stuff, I think I have hair on my head. They were making some great beers within this style. You know, the smoothie, the slushy, the pastry sours. They were one of the best. So I want to see if the stuff that is making distro is just as good as I remember it being. But I also want to talk about the price point, because I'll just be honest with you, regardless of how good this beer is, this will be the last 450 North beer I review on my channel until the price points come down, if they do, unless people want to trade or send me some stuff, because I'm not willing to pay what these cost here in my area. And it might be different where you are, but we'll talk about that at the end. Anyway, I've had this one upside down until I turned on the camera, then I flipped it right side up, so it should be all mixed up and good and whatnot. Yeah. Tastes pretty good. Anyway, let's give it a pour here. So, this is the puree, blackberry puree, graham cracker, cream cheese. It's a, base kettle sour beer, but people don't believe it's beer. And, again, I always seem to mention that in all my reviews, but I'm kind of done with that argument. And I've said that before, but I kind of am. Just, if you don't think it's a beer, you don't think it's a beer, fine. Anyway, yeah, that has a, huge purple color to it, very deep purple. It has the fruit pectin on the side. You can see if I move it around, you see the pectin up here a little bit. Had about a half finger of a like pinkish light purple head that's not dissipated to a thin film because of all the adjuncts. Murky, turbid, can't see through it, kind of what you expect out of a beer like this. Let's get a nose. That's wild. Wow. So it smells exactly like a blackberry cheesecake. I'm getting the graham cracker. I'm not only getting the graham cracker, I'm getting the cream cheese. It has a nice cream cheese-esque kind of nose to it, and then the blackberries are there too. Smells like it's going to be slightly acidic and tart, but the pastry portion is going to dominate. Now, when it comes to these beers, these dessert / pastry sours, I don't mind if they're sweet. It's when they become too sweet and too cloying I have an issue with them. And I always want them to be firmly tart and too sour, because you need something. You need that acidity. You need the sourness to kind of break up the monotony of all the sweetness. And typically when beers don't do that, I don't go crazy about them. So I'm hoping this is not just full-on sweetness with little sourness, because I want it to be a little bit more balanced. And I know that's crazy because this is a pastry sour, but at the end of the day, that's what I'd like. I will say this, the graham cracker's coming off more of like an angel food kind of cakey vibe, like almost like a birthday cake, more than graham cracker. Yeah, this smells more like, as opposed to blackberry cheesecake, now as this opened up, more like a blackberry, say, just like birthday cake. I don't think I've ever had one, but like if you just had like the toppings you would put on the cheesecake in terms of like the blackberry, like that they put on there, I would say, oh, I got a little bit on my thing over here. Nice. I would say that I would much rather have the graham cracker than just like the angel's food. That's personal preference, but I love cheesecake. Yeah, smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. First thing I noticed in this one, does have a pretty nice tartness into low sourness. It almost tastes like a blackberry pie filling is what I'm getting in this one. Body of this one's like lower side of full to medium full. This is not super thick and viscous like a lot of these beers can be. It's definitely thicker. Don't get me wrong. They're using puree, fruit puree, so totally is. But it's just not like super thick and viscous. It's just somewhat. The mouthfeel, it's soft, it's smooth, it's creamy, a little undercarbed, not a ton of carbonation. It's lightly carbonated, so it has that soft, smooth, kind of creamy feel to it. The taste, I don't think the taste is as good as the nose. The nose was definitely screaming like blackberry cake, blackberry cheesecake a little bit. And the taste, I don't think, is that complex. Right at the front of the palate, tart, sweet, acidic blueberry. I keep on saying blueberries with this beer. I don't know if I have said it. It's blackberries, 100% blackberries. But I sometimes will say blueberries instead of blackberries, and sometimes blackberries instead of blueberries. It's blackberries. That's right at the front of the palate. That kind of dips underneath the palate, and then the sweetness comes. Cream cheese, vanilla, lactose-like feel to it. And then midway through the palate, I'm trying to decipher whether it is graham cracker or more like that cakey vibe. I think it's like a combination of like a cake and like pretty much cheesecake. It has a little bit from each. I think it has more of that like devil's food, just like cake, like soft, kind of like cake batter kind of vibe. So not as much as the graham cracker. On the finish, this finish is sweet, but not crazy sweet. There is a slight dryness, like a slight, almost semi-dry dryness. No bitterness to speak of, but that blackberry that hit at the front kind of dives underneath the palate, as I said, and it rises at the back of the palate again, and I'm left with like a slightly acidic, slightly tart. I'm going to get a little bit of heartburn type of feel to it. I will say this. I didn't think I'd say it. This is an extremely drinkable smoothie-style sour ale that's supposed to be like a pastry sour or a dessert sour. This, I could drink the rest of this and not really have any issues. I think that acidic, slight sour kind of feel to it breaks up the sweetness, and it's not that sweet to begin with, and that was my concern. So this is really solid. Here's the problem I have. It's not really blackberry cheesecake. It's black. It has an essence of blackberry cheesecake, right? But it's not full on. I think this has more of like straight sour vibes and less of the pastry. But I'm not going to sit here and say this isn't good, because this is pretty fucking good. It's just I'm not blown away with this one. And the reason I picked it up is because I love fucking cheesecake. Especially raspberry and blueberry. I've had blackberry cheesecake and I love blackberries and it's delicious. It's just not something I get all that regularly. You can't tell there's alcohol. They say 5.3%, sure. Whatever it was like 3 years ago, they had the whole issue of saying this beer was 8%, and then people doing lab work on it and figuring out it's like 3.5%. So I'm going to take them at their word, just because I feel at this point they should be honest with it. But overall, this is a really solid, enjoyable pastry/dessert sour. It's just not blowing me away. And yeah, it's I put it this way, it's still quality, and 450 North based on this one beer. Yeah, quality stuff in distro as far as I know. But anyway, the Slushy Supersize Blackberry Cheesecake variant, I have no problems giving that a low 4.25 out of 5 and go 4.2 out of 5. So like I said, I'm going to review this one to the merits of what's in the can, not the price point. Now, if I took the price point in consideration, let's get like a 3. And I'll tell you why. I paid, and this is going to differ for a lot of people out there, but in my area, these slushy beers from 450 North are typically anywhere from $9.99 to $12.99 a can. So you're talking $10 to $13 for a single can. Here's my issue with that. There are a lot of breweries that have caught up to 450 North in terms of these beers. A lot of you can get them locally. I can. Here in the West New York area, I can get Froth and Mortalis. I think Mortalis is up there as one of the best in terms of these styles. Froth's pretty damn good as well. We also have Fifth Frame and a couple other places kicking them out. So when I see this in a store and I paid $11.99 for that can. I'm paying $12 for a can, and I can go get a Mortalis beer at the brewery for $25 4-pack, so you're talking $6.25 a can. Or when they do make distro for single cans, they're usually like $7-8. When I can get those beers for anywhere between $2 to $6 less a can, there's no way I'm picking this up. It's just, there's no way. Here's the thing, it's not even these beers. 450 North's IPAs, they're like, I saw one of their double IPAs, 8%. It was $10 a can. I complain about Equilibrium, their beers and distro being $28 to $32 for a 4-pack of a double IPA, so you're talking $7-8 a can, and I wouldn't buy them because of that. There's no fucking way I'm picking up a $10 double IPA from 450 North. I don't care if, they're getting distro and whatnot. I don't know if it's 450 North. I don't know if it's distributor. It's not the beer stores, because the beer stores are pretty consistent. In my area, typically $11, $12 for one of these. It doesn't fluctuate all that much. So it has to be the distributors of 450 North. Regardless, if you're just relying on the hype of 450 North, that was cool 2-3 years ago when there weren't many breweries putting out this stuff and getting distro. Now I can walk into my local beer store and get stuff from Imprint and their Schmoogie series and Dewey in their Secret Machine series, Energy City's Bistro series, beers that are just as good, if not better than some of these, and they're $7-8 a can. They're not $11-12 a can. So that's my little rant here on 450 North, but I've had a lot of people ask me to review 450 North stuff, and I just can't justify paying $11-12 for a can that I can get for almost half, if not, $3 to $4 cheaper a can. I just can't do it. Now, to be fair, at the brewery, this is probably $25, $26 a 4-pack like it is everywhere else. So I'm talking about distro only. The prices are ridiculous, and I'm not going to buy them unless these come down to less than $10 a can, because there's just no way I'm paying that for this. So post in the comment section, please, if you pick up 450 North stuff, what is the price point of beers like this in your neck of the woods? Is it $10 a can? Is it 12? Is it less? Is it higher? Because fucking absurd. And like I said, the double IPAs are just like that. So gonna step off my soapbox here. Gonna stop with the rant. Availability, I have no idea. I just know that they get distro now, and we see them here in the Buffalo/Western New York area. Yeah, not much more to say about this one. If you've had this specific beer, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. If you've had anyone within the style or anything from 450 North recently, let me know. Is there something out there that you enjoy? I always take suggestions from the viewers of the channel, my Untapped friends, but when people want me to review beer and it's literally just insane to pay the price point, I just can't do it. So hopefully you guys understand that I'm not willing to pay $11-12 for a can of this when I can get stuff just as good for, $3 to $6 cheaper, $2 to $6 cheaper. Just not happening. Anyway, not much more to say about it. Gonna shut this one down. Yeah, I like 450 North. Just wish it was a little bit cheaper. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.